This is the finest automobile of its kind, anywhere. It's a beautiful car. It's an excellent investment in transportation, and it's fun to drive. This is the finest, the liveliest of the lively ones. As evidence of the character of this automobile, its beauty, vitality, luxury, of its personality, if you will, consider the popularity of the Thunderbird with the people who've owned them, or do own them. The very first Thunderbird was the pride of the fortunate few who could enjoy it, the dream and desire of most everyone else. The Thunderbird's popularity and the enthusiasm of Thunderbird owners have done nothing but grow from 1955 right up to this moment. And there was a sharp jump in public acceptance in 1961, when the Thunderbird's present styling was announced. As the popularity of the automobile increased, so did the quality of the automobile. Ever since 1955, many improvements have been made during each production year. Most where they can't be seen, but they're there. And new features, the swing-away steering wheel is a prime example, new features have been added each year. You know that the resale value of the Thunderbird has been consistently high. Higher, in fact, than most any other car on the market, which proves what I'm saying about both quality and popularity. The resale value of the Thunderbird shows, in fact, that everything about the automobile has a tremendous appeal to the people who want to enjoy the finest. The Thunderbird story. It's been a wonderful story. It is a wonderful story, from 1955 to 1962. But now, look at the 1963 Thunderbird. You don't notice much difference at first glance, but there are many changes. There's a change in ornamentation of the grille and headlights. The front wheel opening has a more rakish look for 1963, and it's accented by the raised line running through the front fender and door. The bright slashes on the side of the 1963 give it a new hint of speed, and the large round taillight's 12-spoke design is different for 1963.
There are many other new Thunderbird features for 63 to contribute to the safety, the comfort, and the pleasure of the owner. For instance, the front turn signal lenses are amber in color, so they can't possibly be confused with the headlights. The intention to turn is always clearly evident. This hood release is right here, right where it's most convenient for a service station attendant, and where it's most convenient for the driver, who doesn't have to bother with a release inside the car. Under the hood, the smooth 300 horsepower Thunderbird 390 Special V8 is standard equipment, and the new 340 horsepower high performance V8 is available for the man who wants even more zip and go. Also new for 63 is the Ford-designed alternator. Its job is to generate current even when the car's idling. A regular generator doesn't do that. So the alternator greatly increases the life of the car's battery and is a much more dependable source of power for lights and all electrical accessories. Speaking of the electrical system, the wiring in the 1963 Thunderbird is protected by a new armored casing material that offers additional protection against damage. And major circuits have their own separate fuses. Now you don't lose the use of a whole bank of accessories should a fuse blow. Only one accessory would cease to function. Windshield wipers are new for 1963. They're hydraulic now, operated by a new motor that works off the power steering pump. Wiper action is more powerful than it was, and wipers can be set at any speed you want, from fast to barely creeping. And the action is unaffected by changes in the speed of the car. And the blades themselves are longer, 2 inches longer, 18 inches overall, to clear a bigger area of the windshield and give you better visibility and greater safety in foul weather. And look at this. These new tires, exclusive with Thunderbird in the Ford division line, are the truest running tires yet developed. They're actually made to closer tolerances than it's possible to hold in making the wheel itself. Result, much longer tire life, smoother running, and less noise. And the Thunderbird self-adjusting brakes have a new lining material. The brake linings for 1963 are improved to last a longer time and to make stopping safer, surer, and smoother. But comfort and pleasure isn't just a smoother stop. It's a quiet ride, too. It's a ride more free of engine noise, road noise, wind noise. It's a ride more free of all sorts of noise. This will give you an idea. This is how much sound insulation material goes into the 1963 Thunderbird to make it as quiet as a sleeping kitten, to make motoring as pleasant and comfortable as if you were watching the world go by from the quiet of your own library. And there's more sound deadening in the rear suspension system. Spring liners of a special kind of rubber do the biggest part of the job. But where the axle meets the spring, there's also a rubber sandwich that eliminates a good share of noise. But these aren't the only things that have been done to make the 63 Thunderbird so comfortably quiet and relaxing to drive or to ride in. The drive shaft, normally a real problem in any car when it comes to noise and vibration, is new for 63. Consisting of inner and outer tubes bonded with rubber, it eliminates nearly all noise and vibration here in the 1963 Thunderbird. But now, consider the exhaust system. It's a new system for 1963. Stainless steel in the muffler and aluminum-coated pipes give the system an expected life of 3.5 or 4 years, about double the life up till now. This outside rear-view mirror is new for 63, and it's a remote control mirror adjusted to any desired angle with this knob. Now you have all the convenience of setting the mirror exactly the way you want it, and without having to open the window. Even before you get into the Thunderbird, you'll notice more evidences of additional luxury for 1963. New bright chromed steel shields on the sides of the seats, but move in a little closer. The bright accelerator and brake pedals are new for 1963, adding flair to the interior. There's more nylon woven in the carpeting for 1963 to make it wear longer than it ever has. The power window option is greatly improved for 1963. First of all, the switches are now on the console between the driver and the passenger, and convenient to both. Then, there are the motors. Power window motors for 1963 now have built-in protection against possible burnout. A circuit breaker, right inside, trips immediately should there be an unusual heat buildup. And the motor shafts are of stainless steel to withstand corrosion. The fully transistorized AM radio is standard equipment in 1963 Thunderbirds. A rear seat speaker is optional on 1963 hardtops. The new optional AM/FM radio provides the clearest, the finest reception you'll ever find in an automobile radio. And speaking of options, the newest is a vacuum-actuated door lock switch. With just a touch, the driver can lock both doors at once. Power steering is standard, of course. But for this year, pressure from the power steering pump has been increased to reduce parking effort from 12 pounds to a mere 5 pounds. It almost responds to a breath of fresh air. It's so easy. We've already mentioned interior, but the walnut grain paneling effect is standard on the Landau. Its rich elegance begins at the instrument panel and is continued throughout the car, echoing the flair of a fine continental sports car. And that flair extends to the Landau's exclusive vinyl roof, now also available in rich dark blue as shown here, and dark brown in 1963. So you see, there is a difference in the Thunderbird this year. There are changes, improvements. It's a fine automobile. It's a luxurious one, and proud. Beside the familiar styling and features that have made the Thunderbird famous, beside the new features that have made it even better for 1963, twice a year, or every 6,000-mile maintenance, offers more convenience of operation than ever before, even in Thunderbird history. You're already familiar with these. 6,000-mile oil and filter change interval, 30,000-mile air cleaner element replacement and self-adjusting brakes. And now for 1963. The radiator change interval is extended to 36,000 miles, or 2 years. Fuel filter change interval is extended to 36,000 miles. For 1963, the Thunderbird also features 12,000-mile body lubrication, including such things as door locks and hinges, longer life brake linings, and longer life battery. And in 1963, the 1,000-mile inspection has been done away with completely. The owner of a 1963 Thunderbird can enjoy his new car from the start without worrying about having to have minor adjustments made in a week or so. His car is right to begin with. And unique to Thunderbird this year, you now have universal joint lubrication that's recommended for 100,000 miles, or 3 years. And also unique to Thunderbird, the 1963 models offer 100,000-mile major chassis lubrication. That includes front suspension, drive shaft, and steering linkage. 100,000 miles, or 3 years.
This whole list applies to each of the superb Thunderbird models. The Thunderbird hardtop, that's been referred to as a styling classic in its own time. The Thunderbird Landau with its vinyl roof and its tasteful elegance. The Thunderbird Sports Roadster with its impeccable good taste combined with sports car dash and spirit. The lively Thunderbird convertible, whose bucket seats and incomparable luxury give it a dash and sparkle all its own. But make no mistake, this car is an inspiration for competition. It's a star for competitors to strive to reach, with one drawback, one moment of stark truth to face. Competitive designers must ask, what kind of car is ours going to be? And they must answer, like a Thunderbird. Even competitors admit it. The Thunderbird is the leader, the finest, a unique automobile. It's unique in its performance and in its handling. It's unique in its luxury, its elegance, unique in its liveliness. It's unique in all of the fun and pleasure that comes from owning it. There's no other car like it. Thunderbird, unique in all the world. Thunderbird puts owners in a unique position because they own it. And Thunderbird puts you in a unique position because you sell it.